expensive. Accounting is expensive.
How much the tax?
Closing down a company is expensive. So people don't start a company.
But they have the best tax approach for the investors to the best in the world. For the investors.
No.
Yeah, in Turkey.
Excuse me, I need to move
They
the
have a
water.
tax relief of 17 to up to 100% of tax relief. Of the,
All right, somebody who did not share the first time. You guys, you didn't share anything the first time.
For the
Okay.
investor, yes.
Okay, but that's something different.
Yeah.
Okay, who's going to speak for this table?
So you go for
Sustainability. Sustainability, and to do sustainability and key metrics. Okay? Here you go. All right, everybody listen up. We're hearing sustainability and key metrics from Cambodia. Okay.
Okay, sorry, I can.
You're good.
I can start out. Okay, for the key metrics, we measure it by
Sustainability first.
sustainability.
And you have to really speak up.
Okay, so we would like to be a service provider who provides service in running business or registration stuff like that.
Okay.
And equity share in the incubator and
Equity share, good.
Yeah.
That would work.
and maybe partnership broker, like when we connect investor and startups,
Uh-huh.
like a commission.
Good. Commission, good.
Okay. Yeah.
Those are all good. Okay, and what about your metrics?
Okay. Metrics are by numbers. So number of partnership that we have made,
Uh-huh.
development partners, and number of companies that we can support or invest in,
Uh-huh.
and amount of fund we raised.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Okay. Success rate of startups. Like in here, success means we make the startup make it to the market.
Yep. Okay. So that's more of an impact measure. Yep.
And next one, number of the partners and investors that we match.
Yep.
Okay, and the number of activities annually, each year, what do we do?
Great.
Like GEW and conference and stuff.
Fantastic. Okay. Excellent. Okay, so that's very nicely done. So what I like about that is, first of all, the sustainability list was actually revenue generating activities. So it fit within the model we're talking about. Okay? The second is the metrics were linked to the sustainability goals. So so it made sense. You were measuring something similar to what the sustainability goals, but it also went beyond it in terms of some of the metrics about the number of activities, which is an input metric, but it's a good thing to keep track of. How busy are you? And then also whether the companies have grown. So that's good. Okay? You got that, Anna? You want to give it a shot? Okay. Sustainability and key metrics.
So for sustainability, we have attracting sponsorships, create attractive and sellable products and services to ensure revenue streams, possibly in the future adding some consulting services, enhancing our PR so the ecosystem is aware of what we are doing, and ensure that we have a clear message so everyone understands the value of our programs and services. And it's important for us to stay globally connected to to ensure our uniqueness in the market. Yeah, and key metrics. So as for key metrics, we have different key metrics for the different programs that we have. So for example, we have one of the core programs, Scale Up, Accelerator. And for Scale Up, for us, it's very important to have businesses grow at least for 25% per year. It's important that these businesses create jobs. So for example, for the team of 3, it's important to create about 2+ jobs within a team. And as we work with regions, we have to ensure we add at least 2 regions so we go with scale-up program at least in 2 new regions in Russia. And as for the GEW, which is another our big project, it's important for us to cover as many regions as we can during the GEW. So we had about 56 in 2018. It's important to have as many partners as we can engage in the GEW, and it's also important to attract top government attention to the GEW. So for 2018, we had Vice Prime Minister for the economy involved. So this is important for us. Yeah, this is the key metrics.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah. So same thing. So those were sustainability targets that would generate revenue, and then some metrics that went along with it. Okay. So let me see. Where are they from? No. Okay. Doesn't matter. That's right there. Okay. Just want to see how much time we have. Okay. So we're going to do two more. Two more. Who else has not? Which other country has not shared anything yet? Lebanon, I don't think you have. Jordan, sorry.
So some of the sustainability to provide added value services. So maybe some certificates, some program, training. So this is something might be of something to add. Plus, you know, the typical sponsorship component. So are we moving to the challenges or just sticking to the...
You can go ahead to challenges, yeah.
We can. Some of the challenge facing is too many initiatives. So a lot of developing countries, they have so many initiatives going there. So this is create some kind of challenge. Also, one of the challenge facing in Jordan is actually for entrepreneurs. I'm actually writing a paper from a winning competition to winning customer. So a lot of startup forget about the idea why they create startup to basically have customer and create wealth. They jump from one competition to another, so they lose track. So this is a challenge, and I think we need a lot of countries have similarity of it. And we talk about idea to get everyone to work together. I think as a gen, we will try to work at this challenge where we have everyone know their level in the ecosystem, what they should do, and how you build and each other work. So this is it.
So those were two really important points for the entire Gen community, because it's not the way it was 10 years ago. You know, 10 years ago, it was difficult to persuade anybody in government that entrepreneurship was important, or people at the World Bank, certainly 15 years ago. Now, it's just the opposite, right? There's, you know, usually too much enthusiasm, too many programs. The people, entrepreneurs are confused. They don't know which is quality, what isn't quality. They don't know where to go. There's too many people competing for the attention of the entrepreneurs. Second big problem has to do with the sort of perverse incentives that some of these activities have created, particularly pitch competitions. Because now you have a phenomenon, and I hear this over and over, of, you know, particularly young people who become serial pitch competition, you know, winners. And you know, even winning a pitch competition is much easier than getting one paying customer. And so it's a problem because we're creating a lot of enthusiasm, which is good. Maybe we're changing mindset, which is good, but we're not actually creating any companies that provide services. Okay? I'm going to add one more problem for our community, which is that now we have a tendency to confuse what happens in accelerators and incubators, or in digital workspaces, or co-working spaces, with entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is starting and growing a company, right? So I may have an olive oil company. I may be 62 years old, retired from Nutella, something or other, whatever, and I start an olive oil company. And because my father was in the olive oil business and I have a good network, you know, I live in some rural place, but my country has my company has 20% a year growth. Right? I'm never going to show up at a accelerator. I'm never going to show up at an incubator. But I'm an entrepreneur. Right? So whether it's and this has to do with equity too, whether it's women, whether it's people who are, older, say even over 40, over 50, whether it's ag entrepreneurship, all kinds of entrepreneurship, even restaurants. We don't really focus on because it doesn't fit what we're thinking about as entrepreneurship. What's that?
It's not sexy enough.
It's not sexy enough. It's not sexy enough. So we're ignoring 95% of what is really entrepreneurship because it's not sexy. So those are three, I think, I added my own on. The first two were yours. But I think those are three real problems for the entire set of activities around Gen, globally. Anyway, okay. So does anybody else want to offer one last one? I promised you a break at 3, so you have 3 more minutes. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Okay.
So you mentioned 2 things. One was sustainability and, of course, metrics. So every country would look at.
This is for Gen Pakistan.
This is for Gen Pakistan. So Gen Pakistan, like most of the countries, have been facing the same problem that Gen Global has its own support mechanism. So Gen Global can expand without worrying about paying salaries, but most of the rest of the countries cannot. And that's what we constantly talk about. So for us, something that happened is that we were able to find good board of trustees and advisors who, for example, provided us free office space. So we didn't have to worry about that. From universities, we were able to get volunteers. So constantly we were able to do that. But again, that trustees which will later on join us as a board members were able to provide us some of the salaries for the people who are going to work with us. So as far as running the organization and office is concerned, this can be one way going forward, that you find some strong partners within the country who believe in your work and who are willing to support you, and we become later on part of the organization as well. Then, of course, I believe that connectivity with the government at some point of time is very, very important for sustainability, because you won't be able to get big projects unless you want to work with the government. So if you can, within the trustees, find people who have strong connections, that can be your ladder to the government. In our case, we have been fortunate to do that too.
Okay.
Coming to metrics, at this point of time, because we are not into startups, we are about to start. So later on, we would see the kind of startups that we have supported, how many convert into successful startups.
Yeah.
At this point of time, one big problem is we are a country of 220 million. So we do run these initiatives in big cities, but we're not reaching out to small cities. So probably one of the key metrics Gen Pakistan would like to look into would be number of participants reach in 2nd tier and 3rd tier cities of Pakistan.
I like those, and that's something also you hear around the world, is the focus on 2nd tier cities, trying to get out of the and also rural, but that's that's a different set of issues. So that's quite interesting. I would say that as far as your sustainability, that list, you've gotten ahead of yourself, because that fits very well in key stakeholders. It's really more a list of key stakeholders and who you want to engage, for example, in an advisory board, and what kind of relationships you need to be successful. Okay? So it's a good list, but it wasn't really a sustainability list, it was more a key stakeholders list. Okay? All right, so folks, what we're going to do is, this is what's going to happen. We're going to take a, what was recommended, 15-minute? I'm going to give you guys a 20-minute break, because you're doing pretty well, but please, be back in your exact same seats at 3:20. Not 3:25, because it's already a long time, okay? So be back exactly where we are now, and we'll continue with this, okay? Thank you.
It's very important now for the partnership. It's very important. Come back. See you later.
See you in 15 minutes. Not 16.
Not 16. Yeah. But you back. Vull estirar.
6-0 seconds.
Sí, he notat. Llavors, si no ens fem un WhatsApp abans i anem a donar un taxi a la volta o alguna cosa. Per ahir caminant, em sembla que no és lloc, saps? Això acaba... Jo crec que hi ha 2 hores. Quan s'acaba? A les 5:30 s'acaba. Parleu amb l'Albert i si feu alguna cosa, feu un WhatsApp. Has fet canvi aquí, tu? Sí, he fet? Canvi? Sí. A l'aeroport vaig canviar. Sí, sí que en fan, eh? Sí que en fan. 2,20 i alguna cosa així. I si no, un caixer. Comissions més o menys. No he vist cap de caixer. Has vist algun caixer? A l'aeroport. Hi havia... No, és que no em passa xat perquè no tinc ni idea. Que no em passa xat perquè vull dir que no tinc ni idea.
Okay.
Vale, ens veiem després, vale? Molt bé. Vinga.
All right, so we're doing some peer coaching. This is all good stuff.
This one will make things clearer. He has a bit.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I know you're speaking in a soft voice, but you know, because of the still some ambient noise. Good, thank you. Okay, everybody's attention here. Thank you. Good. All right, not everybody's here, but we're going to get going. So one thing I'm going to just let you guys know, in case you haven't figured it out already, that this exercise is hard work. You know, it's actually effort. And so we already worked sort of for a little while, and now we're going to continue to work. And then we're not done because all the pieces of this puzzle have to fit together. Okay? So this is a little bit like if you're trying to build, you know, furniture from like IKEA or something, and you don't tighten everything up in the beginning, because maybe you put a piece in the wrong spot, you know, so you don't want to have to take everything apart, like if everything really tightened up. So you're just loosely putting the pieces into place, and then we're going to see how they fit, and then, you know, we're going to adjust. Except it's not really like IKEA furniture because it's not prefabricated. So it could be a wrong piece entirely. Okay, you're actually making the thing. So each one of these parts of the canvas, you want to answer the best that you can. And then in about maybe 20, 30 minutes, we're going to look at the whole picture. Okay? But don't try to integrate everything yet. Don't try to do that. Just answer each one on its own. And then you're going to look at all of the different parts of the canvas and say, does this make sense? Right? This started as the business model canvas. And, you know, we're working with entrepreneurs. It's important to know what a business model is. A business model is everything that's represented here. Why do you exist? How are you paid? Who would care if you disappeared? I mean, no, honestly, it's an existential question. It's literally an existential question. You can get as philosophical about it as you want. You know, we all hope that somebody would care if we disappeared, but, you know, personally, if you think about who would care if I disappeared, okay? I'll make a serious point here. And then you think about who do I spend time with every day? Are those the same people? If they're not the same people, then why am I not spending time with the people who would care if I disappeared? See, for most people, I would say the people you spend time with every day are not the people that would care if you disappeared. So it's interesting, right? But as a company, we're going to start a company, or we've got a program, or we got an activity, or we got Gen Country, or whatever it is. Well, let's say you did it, and let's say you disappeared. Would anybody care? You hope that they would, right? If you did something of value, they would. You know? I mean, I was even buying a certain brand of 7-grain cereal I was putting in my yogurt. And I just started using it. I was starting to, try to work out a little bit, be a little healthier, eating better food. Just started using it, and then they didn't have it in the Whole Foods, which is the grocery store I go to. I thought maybe they're just out. And it turned out that the company just ended that product. Just like 2 months after I started using it. So I actually wrote them a letter. I said, what the heck? This is a good product, right? So I cared that their product was gone. They apologized to me. They said, we're not making it anymore. But that's an example. Like they're doing something that I valued. Enough other people didn't value it for them to keep doing it. But there was an answer to that question. Somebody cared. So when you do this at the end, somebody should care. It should matter to somebody. Somebody should write you a letter of thanks when you do your job well. Right? It's not easy. Believe me, in the space we're working in, it is not easy. Because there's a lot of other things going on, how you really create value, how you make it sustainable. This is hard. Right? So anyway, we've gotten through challenges. The next parts we're going to do 2 in a row. We're going to do just 2 sets. Okay, and then we're going to integrate. So the next 2 sets are solutions and offerings and channels and acquisitions. So you have some problems that you're solving, and now finally we can get to the thing that's probably the easiest for you, which is essentially what are your programs, or what are your activities, or what are your services. Okay? That's the easiest thing to think about, the what, the answer to the what question. Okay? What is it we do? That's solutions and offerings. So if you can just write next to solutions and offerings, what? What is it we're doing? Okay? And then channels and acquisitions, in a way, it's not entirely this, but it's somewhat, it's how do we do it? Because you might say, solutions and offerings is an entrepreneurship curriculum. Okay? We have educators who are connected maybe to Gen Global or whatever, maybe it's Susan Amat, whatever, and that she has Gen Accelerates, so it's a great platform, but we're going to create a curriculum on Gen Accelerates, okay? But how are we going to get that out to people? How do we reach students? Okay? So that's where you get to channels and acquisition. We're going to reach students through universities. Because we have a partnership with, in Pakistan, it's the Higher Education Commission. Is that right? So we're closely aligned with the Higher Education Commission, and they will help us to place our curriculum in universities around the country. You see, they're not part of our activity. They're a channel, right, that we use. And they're also not just a stakeholder, they're part of our value proposition. They're part of our service delivery. So everybody who's integrated into your service delivery, into your way you reach customers or you reach suppliers, that's a channel. Or it could be an acquisition. But I mostly think about it as a channel. So it's either how you reach back to suppliers or how you reach forward to customers. Now, you could even put, in terms of a reach back to suppliers, you could even put Gen Global. Right? Gen Global is more of a channel than a key stakeholder. Because we're not a stakeholder in your country. We're an external partner that can help you do things. We try to be a facilitator, but we're not really a stakeholder in the country. So your stakeholders, or that's when we got to the thing about, who, for example, do you want to have on an advisory board? It should be your key stakeholders. You should represent maybe somebody from corporation, somebody from a university, maybe somebody from, I don't know, it could be a youth group that's very prominent and important, that's respected, and you want to build youth entrepreneurship. So it's the people who represent the people who care about you. Ultimately, the people who care about you should be entrepreneurs, young people, mothers, fathers, grandmothers. I mean, it should be actual human beings who live in the country, who live in your country, who care. Those are the people you're trying to reach. But they're not really your stakeholders in the sense that you can't just have all those people around a table. So your stakeholders are kind of like the representatives you're going to bring together, right? So that you can say, are we doing a good job? How can we do better, right? You affect them, okay? So that's what we're trying to get to right now is solutions and offerings and channel and acquisitions. And then we're going to fill in key stakeholders and core team. And we're not going to spend too much time on that, but that is going to be very important because that's kind of your staffing, right? How are we going to accomplish our objectives? We're going to have, you know, kind of like, you can almost think about it as key stakeholders as sort of like what would be your ideal like advisory board or governing board, and then core team, board, and skill sets. Well, it puts board down there, but I'm thinking the group of activities around your organization is in stakeholders, and then your staffing, the people you really need to actually either have on, you know, payroll or half-time or something, those people go into core team. All right, and then we're gonna, it's the fun part, we're gonna look at the whole picture, and I'm gonna ask you to do something which is gonna, I think, challenge everybody, okay? But let's just try to get through this. Both parts, oh my goodness, hold on a second, we got till 5. No, we're good. We got till 5. We may not even go all the way till 5. You know, if we're done, we're done. So believe me, I'm not gonna keep you guys here just because it says on the schedule. When we're done, okay? But it's gonna take at least probably 45 minutes or an hour, at least. Okay? So let's take about 10 minutes now. We don't need 12. Let's say 10 minutes for solutions and offerings, channels and acquisitions. If you get through that, then go right on through to key stakeholders and core team. Okay? Those are the only 4 that we have left. Okay, you guys ready to go? 10 minutes? All right, really motor. You know what you're doing now, so really focus and motor because we want to get to putting the pieces together.
Solution and channel. Ecosystem challenge is like some kind of unknown or unreachable they just isolate.
That's right. Okay, great. Well, then you can join me. And then could you, I'm sorry, what's your name? Kelly. Great, okay. So if you could just run, have you seen the canvas before? Okay, yeah, well why don't you guys go through what we've been doing so far? This is a good, you know, good teaching exercise, so just explain what we've been doing so far.
Because there are not a group of new young entrepreneurs that are registered or perhaps related to the IT or related to the technology or these ones should be registered. And there's the people that, yeah, but it's the people that perhaps is more visible for the your president MD that wants to invest in people that should start with this. Not all the possible entrepreneurs that are perhaps people that are working in small shops in the street. These people is very difficult to legalize and formalize the business, but perhaps other kind of people that you can attract with the investment and with the training and with the events. Perhaps if we talk about the metrics, perhaps there are 100 of these people, not 100,000, 100 of these people to start. And if you offer solutions for this one, this content, perhaps there will be more and more people coming. Yeah. You start with some people that have you have the solution for those people, which is as your MD says, is the biggest challenge is the money, is the investment. Then if you provide the solution, because Global Entrepreneurship Network provides investment, provides financials. Yeah, I don't know. I'm talking about you. And then now your country, and but perhaps it's a place where to start. You never start. Competitive. World Cup is the new one. It's the new one. And CBC was the former one. And then the
Creative business.
creativity is more for the creativity is more for the
Technology and those kind
for the art and craft and arts. More the creativity means the creativity in terms of arts and yeah, the creativity comes for the entrepreneurs that are related to the culture and also, but it's also mixed and this CAP is a new one. Perhaps you can apply to develop the CAP in Malaysia.
See, we have a thing like kind of like CDC.
They're seeking because it's the foundation of the Arab countries. They're seeking people that want to develop in this country because next year the final will be during the Congress here in here.
CBC?
No, the World Cup. The World Cup is sponsored by MISC Foundation. MISC Foundation is the foundation of the Sheikh. This SSS, which is the king of Arabia, it's the ruler of Arabia. They want to develop this and to have the final Congress next year. Then it's a nice gathering for you, it's a nice possibility, it's a nice opportunity for you to be involved in the first World Cup. Malaysia participant.
Maybe these are the international levels. So international level we can organize like international startup awards. That's kind of programs.
You can rule a national country level competition for the global one. You can right.
Program like startup or like entrepreneur revenue beginning for 1 year discuss about
Then you should develop a pathway to start, perhaps. Starting with a group of entrepreneurs that can be trained, incubated, and then go to the World Cup. If you do this with several starting points with 100 people who deliver 2 people to the World Cup, then you have a pathway that you can show to your citizens that the entrepreneur can follow this pathway, this way. As a success case, you can start with some people walking perhaps in black in the street and something, and they register entry in the training session, and then it's supported in the incubator, and then it goes to the contest. Perhaps sometimes the best practices are to show how one entrepreneur can be successful.
Most of the solutions what about the startup?
It's good also. It's good also. You don't need to focus in young.
Folks, if you can go ahead and fill out key stakeholders and core team, go ahead and do that. If you're ready to go ahead and finish filling out the whole canvas, the last 2 fields, there's key stakeholders, and core team. Go ahead and do that. We have 4 minutes left. So let's see if we can get to the finish line.
The corporations doesn't want those, they consider that those people older. Then they start his own business because they cannot work for another people. There's a bunch of people that are starting to do entrepreneurship at 50. It's not the golden, it's forced because the circumstances. Because the 50, yeah, because the people doesn't want, the big corporation doesn't want to hire people.
Is that compulsory fees or just?
No, it's just because, just because younger are cheaper and they are more skilled. Perhaps sometimes there are people that have more energy to develop. And if the boss was 40 or 45, perhaps it's better to deal with people with 20 or 25 than people with 50, 55. And the bosses are 40, 45 people. 45. No, not at all. Not at all because the big corporations don't need the experience because they have strong methodology. Because usually these methodologies are supported by IT. Then you don't need your experience. You remember how to do the thing. You know the system. Cheaper, worker, you can start doing the same.
You can choose. You get 55 or 60.
Compulsory, but all the people has enough cotisation to earn something. Something.
If you work in
Very small, but they can live. If you don't, you come from the private, small business or whatever,
there is a pension,
private one.
employment pension fund, but it's just one-time payment.
One time.
One-time payment, but different if you government servant, they pay you monthly.
But one-time payment is like 1 year of salary or?
No, you have to actually 11% of our salary is to employer, 12% from our
Okay, 30 seconds.
And then save this to pay you each year.
no, every month.
Every month, yeah. And when they pay you,
All right,
how
folks.
much they pay?
In the next 2 minutes, I want you to fill in any gap in your canvas. Okay, because you're going to be presenting to other people in 2 minutes. You're going to be standing next to it, so you don't have to worry about your handwriting, but just write something in every box in the next 2 minutes, right now. Okay? Every country should write something in every box. Okay, I'm going to take a picture of this.
Channels.
I don't know.
Channels.
How about you?
Channels. Channels. One hand is the channel that comes from the top, which is Global Entrepreneurship Network and the label. That's one. That's one. The things coming from
Social media.
social media. And if you structure it as a new activity, this Gen in Malaysia, you should base this in social media. For food.
But because if I see
Kind of,
mention there's only few people know. I think the easiest way.
Welcome back. Yeah, then that's all.
Super simple.
This one is good. Channel. Yeah, the way that you organize the conference is this place, and this is a nice channel. Once per year, festival. People come because it's holiday, because we'll be eating something, or happy and they can be engaged. They can be engaged. So if you believe that, okay, share ticket or value to be membership will help you.
Last week, I saw social media, platforms, different like-minded. Yeah. And like the big events.
Not the government, not. University. Tech university. Incubator. There are some incubators in Nepal, yeah, and also in Malaysia. No, like small one focused in technology.
We have two
5, 4,
Domain.
3, 2,
Not such
1.
fail.
It's action time. Okay, we've got Asia over there. Oh yeah, I gotta do my hand thing. We got Australia. You know, Australia, they're so used to being like way off on their own. You know, they just figured no one's even paying attention to them, but it's not true. We're always thinking about Australia. If you're always thinking about Australia, put your hand up. Literally every single day. Yeah, how can we not? It's such an awesome country. All right, folks. This is what's going to happen. You got to listen carefully because this is like actual instructions. Okay, you're going to come to me with your canvas. I'm going to put a piece of tape on it. You're going to put it at eye level, if you're in Asia, across that wall. Okay? Then you're going to stand next to your canvas. Right? Same thing if you're Europe and Oceania, that's you guys on the Oceania. Okay? You're still Oceania. And then Africa and the Americas. Okay? So you're going to put, did I miss anybody? Antarctica? Anybody from Antarctica? All right, so, and then we're going to go one at a time. So only Asia is going to present, everybody else is going to listen. Okay? You're going to be the audience. And then only Europe and Oceania is going to present, and you're going to be the audience. You got it? Everybody's going to get feedback on their canvas. What I want you to do is not say, there are two things you're not going to say. That's a stupid idea. Or, I like it. It's good. Thumbs up. Right? Obviously, you're going to ask critical questions. Okay? Your value proposition is this, but your metrics are this. How does that fit? Right? Because we're all trying to learn from each other. So try to ask critical questions about how the pieces fit. Okay? And it's really more, this exercise is really how do things fit together more than I like this or I don't like this. Everybody got that? So that's the type of feedback we're giving. All right, everybody ready? So here I go, I got a piece of tape. No, actually I'm lying. Okay, piece of tape. I'm gonna say everything I just said over again because I didn't have the mic. No, I won't. Okay. Everybody got me? If you didn't hear what I said, ask somebody next to you because I think at least somebody heard what I just said. Okay, cool. So now I really do have the piece of tape in just a second. Anybody ready? I'm waiting for somebody to come up with their canvas.
University, all kind of levels of education, high school or also telecom companies. Also the government system, crowdfunding.
Italy/Ireland, are you ready? Okay. People just switch around. Anybody else? Okay, Italy's the first up. That means it's the best country in the world. What's the second best country in the world? All the countries. Small one's fine. Doesn't have to be. You don't have to transfer it to the big one. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about transferring. Because you're going to change it anyway. Didn't say that before. Anyway, doesn't matter. Because you're getting feedback, right? This isn't about this is about learning. So you probably will change things. Nepal, the second best country in the world, according to my. Did you write your country on it? This wall, that's why I did one wall. You know what, let's try to split it out a little bit. You're going to stand next to them. So we're going to put it like this.
Són coses que poc són de res. Premi falta 3 persones, porta 3 més i tot això. Veieu que parlaven, no? Estan amb el model del business plan que fotíem abans i no sé què. No sé, perquè els materials els vam preparar a la formació. 10 anys quan va començar el Credit Fall, vam dir, no, el Credit Fall ara també farà la competència aquesta d'emprenedoria, no es feia. Regalat. Ja està. Bueno, hi ha molta gent. El reciclar la gent que ha de fer. Aportar costos és tot això, no? Imagina que té l'activitat, que té un altre sistema. Hi havia també ja els del PMI, els del project manager, no sé quantes anys, que deien, hòstia, és que hauríem de fer el PMI. Hòstia, si lliureu un material que com fer-ho. El professor, pensa el curs, si té una mica de material, es fa l'exercici i muntes 2 classes del PMI, content. No? Està bé. Quanto potremo? Quantas horas donem? A la competència emprenedoria.
All right, guys. Hey, one thing, since some people have to leave. One thing is before you go, since this is the first time we're doing this, if you could send feedback. Susan, S-U-S-A-N, at genglobal.org. Okay? So if you could offer feedback on this session, I know people are always saying ask for feedback, but this is the first time we're doing it. So we really need feedback, okay? So Susan at genglobal.org, and make sure you say it was session number 4 so you know which is which, okay? Susan at genglobal.org, I'm going to take this up. Australia.
What do you mean?
Oh, Barcelona, obviously.
Then.
You guys from
What are you
Barcelona,
thinking about? Then. And you? You're from Madrid? Yeah. I'm seeing it. Yeah.
I am.
He's from Madrid.
I am.
Yeah.
I like water club. I like water club.
Then go to the other side. Now you are from supporting Barcelona. Yeah, smart guy. Not like you.
Come on.
Smart guy.
It's good.
Just all in a row. Okay, who else? Who's not done? We're going to do, who's not done? Korea? I don't have Korea yet.
It's amazing.
Japan, you guys up there? Is anybody missing from the board? Russia?
Malaysia.
Come on, Katerina, you're the pro.
In Madrid. He doesn't say what.
So which team you support?
This is a global competition. Madrid, Barcelona, but now they have Girona. It's a new team in the league. It's doing.
Which team?
He lost last time. What are they doing? They start the first round. The first round was very well. Was for the champions, and the second round is going down.
Yes, and we are.
Going down. Bypass.
Okay, anybody else? All right, folks, presentation time. If you are from Asia, go next to your board, go next to your canvas, and everybody who's not from Asia, go and listen to people from Asia. Okay? Everybody stand up. Everybody can be in motion. Hey, Mars. Good to see you, man. What's up?
Tour.
All right, let's go. Everybody, yeah, you have to stand by your board. Just one presenter. Everybody else listen. No, you guys can listen. But just stand next to him, but you just have to have one. So one presenter per canvas, and then everybody else is listening. So the whole Bangladesh contingent can go over here, but there's only going to be one person presenting. All right, so Pakistan. There you go. They both have to go do somebody's study. They both. Yes, So let's shift these down so that it's running. Okay, you can shift those down a little bit so it. Okay, so I hope there's somebody for this. Bangladesh, stand, come over here. That's fine. I want to create some space. Okay, Bangladesh, Malaysia. Just, you're going to randomly organize around one. Doesn't matter. Okay, where's Malaysia? Here, okay, stand next to yours, right here. Remember, this is like junior high school. You're presenting the science board. Japan, one person from Japan. Here you go. Right here. Right here. Okay? One person from, what's up here? Okay. One person from Cambodia. Okay? And then last but not least, one person from Jordan. Are you still here? Jordan? Okay, that's good. All right, audience, go on in. Ask questions. Let's go. We're going to do this for like 5 minutes. Just go. You're listening. They're presenting. You're asking them questions. One-on-one in small groups. Like, you're going to cluster around. So it's like a few people here. You can't see their board from that far away. So you're going to look at their board and ask questions. That's why I want to do it. Like a booth. It's like a tiny little booth. So just try to do what you can. It's a little tight. It's a little tight. So we don't have to change it. If it's too tight, move someplace else. People, grab yours and move.
My contacts there.
Wow, that's great. I would love to be your cut.
Have my contacts on the Facebook.
This one. Because of the dollars.
Oh, he's a Spanish. I learned Spanish. Go to the Spanish club in Bangladesh. Learn Spanish language. It will be better to work at.
Cut my hair.
You're lucky. I'm lucky. Me too. The legend is here.
What football team you support?
My favorite
You
team
don't like.
in
You
Hanoi.
don't like.
We like football. My favorite team is Argentina, and my favorite club in Europe club is Barcelona. I love football.
Can go to the.
All right, we're going to switch in 3 minutes. 3 minutes.
Do you like this type of conference? I wish I could.
There are. You should come there and stay for a while and take some
Okay, France. I'm going to call some countries now. France, are you still here? France? Curacao? I'll wait. You're not done.
have not heard about him here, but perhaps comes because he's announced it in the network, in the network.
Yeah, he sent me a message on LinkedIn
Saying that it's here,
saying that he will be here. He didn't say what
but
day.
perhaps not.
Yeah, he didn't say what day, so maybe it's
No, perhaps
Oh,
not.
please send me also message. Miguel,
Miguel
yeah,
Martin.
yeah.
He sent a message to.
And then he sent a message to everybody.
Miguel Martin, he tell me
I am coming.
He didn't come.
he didn't come with some family issue last few minutes ago.
60 seconds.
I go every people, every country. Well, you know me.
It's Spanish.
Yes, but he
I
said
have met him several times in other not Jen, but as in the SBS week.
He's a high commissioner.
It's a high commissioner of Small Business Angels Forum, not a high commissioner of which is the World Business
All right, here we go.
chaired by the guy that has come
Folks, 5, 4,
special envoys, people that
after the cell phone. Autobombing the cell phone. Here we go.
for this kind of
All right, that's it. 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm going to call some country names now. Okay, Curacao. Curacao. All right. France. La France. Allons-y. Okay. Australia. Who's going to represent Australia? Where's Sal? You're right there. Australia. Here we go. Here comes Australia. You're right there. Australia, you're right there. Somebody didn't put their country. Country that didn't put their country. In Europe. Fabio, let's figure it out. Slovenia, you're here. Slovenia. It's a little bit, yeah, Slovenia. Where's Slovenia? You still here? Okay. Portugal. Portugal. Brazil. Brazil. Somebody here from Brazil? You. Okay, so one person. Russia, okay, right here. Spain. Viva España. ¿Dónde está España? Anybody from Spain? Spain. Okay, coming. Okay, good. Mexico. ¿Qué viene de México? Mexico. Raise your hand. Okay, good. Mexico's coming. And Colombia. There's one country in Europe that didn't have a name on it. You got it, Italy. Italy, Ireland. Okay. Okay, folks. Same thing. Just cluster around somebody. Find somebody to be friends with for the next 7 minutes. Wait. Don't get started yet. Don't get started. Let's wait for people to gather up. Okay, there's a bunch there. We got Mexico and Colombia. Go ahead. Hurry up. Hurry up. Don't stay still. Move. Go towards one of the sheets of paper. Okay, good. All right, Italy still needs a little attention here. Don't forget about Italy. All right, everybody got a group, 3 or 4 people? All right, begin pitching. Slovenia needs some friendship. Come on, Slovenia. Okay, do it together, that's fine. That's fine, okay. Okay, 4 more minutes, and then we have the most important part of the afternoon. We're not done. 4 more minutes, then we sit back down, and it's the most important part of the afternoon. We're not done. Okay? What's that? I know, it's just, well, it's supposed to go until 5. You're going to be out at least 20 minutes before that, so don't worry about it. Two minutes. All right, guys. I love the energy. I love the energy, but we have one more thing to do. It's a simple thing, but it's the most important thing. All right, guys. All right, I'm gonna put my hand up. This is why I did this before. All right, need everybody's attention. Thank you, folks. Thank you very much, Australia. Australia. I told you. I told you. Exactly. Across every dimension. Thank you very much. All right, this is what's going to happen. Take your country canvas off the wall. Fold the tape behind it. Don't listen to all the instructions. Fold the tape behind it. Go back to where you were seated. Okay? All you're going to do, ignore the alarm. You're not going to redo the whole canvas. There's no time. On the back, you're going to write what you have learned from this exercise. What are you thinking about differently now than when you started? If the answer is nothing, you write nothing. Okay? If it's something, you write that down. Okay? And it's what you're going to do next time you revisit this when you redo the canvas. Because it's going to take you 2 hours to redo the canvas, at least. So we're not going to do that now. But I want